Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, and welcome to episode 179 of Dude and a Monkey. My name is Ian Loring, and as always, I'm joined by
Mark Foster. Hello, everybody.
Yes, and we do indeed. I do have a double review for you, as Mark was quite eloquently saying last week. We're going to be reviewing Swiss Army Man, the Daniel Radcliffe farting corpse film, and something else, Deepwater Horizon, which is Peter Berg's fictional retelling of the real life thing. Not too sure John Malkovich's real life character had that accent, but so it was somewhat fictionalised at least. We shall get into it. We'll also talk trailers, what else we watched, and other bits and bobs. And I might be sounding a bit fucked today. But yeah, I did the Cardiff half marathon today, and I'm not sure my legs are ever going to work again.
You got the deep burn right now, then.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I did it in 2 hours 18, which I'm not super thrilled with. I wanted to do it in less than 2 hours 15, but it's really far.
Yes.
The guy who came first did it in an hour and something seconds, and it's just no, that's silly. That's really silly.
Yeah, but he does do it for a living.
I'm sure he must do. Yeah. I mean, it's really far. But what can I say? It takes ages. Sorry, I don't even have the fucking words. I didn't pace myself very well. I caned the first 10k, and if I did it at that pace, I would have done the whole thing in 2 hours 6. So I went slower in the second half, and I stopped to walk a few times. Whenever there was a hill, I was just like, I'm not fucking doing that. Nah. So I just started walking up them. And, there was 7,000 something or other, how many was it? Guys doing it. There was an app that I used. It was pretty crazy. The fucking app that they used, where you could just track people in real time, and it auto posted my fucking updates to Twitter and stuff, which was kind of crazy. Yeah. So
it did.
Yeah. So out of my gender, there was 9,225 guys, and I came 7,076. So I was 2,000 above the slowest guy. So I'll take that. And I was 10,463rd out of 16,901 in total. So I'm okay with that. I'm not super fit anyway. I mean, I run quite a lot, but I also drink quite a lot of ale. So it does counteract it. But I'll be honest.
Levels it out.
Yeah. I'm going to do it again next year, assuming nothing tragic happens to me, but I wouldn't recommend
it. You wouldn't recommend people do it, but you've kind of been bit by the bug, or you want to better this year.
I want to do it in less than 2:15. I really want to do it in less than 2:15. I think if I trained better, if I ate and drank better closer to the time, I mean, since a week last Wednesday, I've had 2 cans of beer. So I've kept it pretty. A week last Monday, even when I got back off holiday. So I've kept it pretty chill. But I think I could probably be better than that. And I don't know. But it was a lovely day out. It was a really, really nice day. Pretty much cloudless all the way, which was great. And I don't know, the organisation of it was brilliant. And I got a T-shirt and actually quite hefty medal. So that was fun. But it is far. It's just, I don't know. It just, I don't know. I don't know. Like, when I saw the fucking finish line, I fucking pegged it. It was funny because you turn a corner and the finish is maybe about a minute and a half of running in front of you, and you just see people fucking sprinting. And just like, well, I've been slow up to now, but here's the fucking finish. Let's see if I can shave 10 seconds off my shit time. That was how I was thinking. So, but hey, anyway, raised 200 quid. Thank you, and thank you, including Mark, to those who donated. And we move on. I've got a can of Punk IPA in front of me, and another can unopened, and I've got another 2 in the fridge, and 2 other beers. So I'm going to get quite pissed tonight, but I don't care.
Good.
And 4 weeks' time from now, I'm going to be hungover to shit as well. Carpenter.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Yes, we are. We are going to be crazy hungover.
And I suppose we should say, actually, if anybody listening is going to the Carpenter gig, then, hit us up.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because, Jesus Christ, we're going to be doing some drinking beforehand. So, there's that as well. And Mark, have you got anything to chat about this week? How are you finding FIFA?
I can do a bit of FIFA chat if you want.
Yep, do it.
Yes, I got FIFA. I had what can only be described as a terrible day Thursday. So I was contemplating not buying FIFA on Thursday just because I thought, you know what? This day has been a catalogue of bad things have happened. So I might not buy it just in case I put it in my PS4 and my PS4 explodes or something like that. But I bought it in the end and put it in, and I eventually got to actually sort of put it in and start loading it up at about maybe 10 o'clock at night. So I put it into the machine, and eventually I started playing my first game at around about 10 past 11. So that was a little irritating.
Why?
But you kind of
was it installing or something?
Yeah, it was installing. There was about a gig and a half's worth of updates. Which was crazy because then once you actually got into the game, you still had to update the squad list, which was weird. That's. But anyway, I've got on with it, and I decided what I'd do is I'd do the journey straight away, get that done, so I can play that, see what that's like, and then move on to my usual career mode that I go into from there. So I've started playing the journey, and. The thing is, I didn't realise that you had to. I just stupidly, but I still maintain partially sensibly, assumed that the squads would be updated as part of the massive update that it had to load before it actually worked. And then once I started the journey thing and was sat and thought, why is Mario Balotelli sat on the bench with me at Liverpool?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, it's strange because it's quite difficult to get into the sort of how different the game is, because I'm playing the journey bit, so I'm not actually fully playing the game yet. Although I am playing as the whole team rather than just what is it. I tried playing just as the one player, but it drives me mad and I don't end up enjoying it. So I thought I'll play as the whole team. But it's quite hard to get into it. I don't like the new corner thing, which is the little spinny yellow fucking thing. It's a little bit like, do you know what? We'd moved away from that, so why don't you bin that? It's weird the fact that the game, for instance, like you were saying with the journey, you go on loan. So I went on loan and I went to Newcastle. But it's strange the fact that within the game, it does strange things. Like, for instance, before I went on loan to Newcastle when I was at Liverpool, it was playing a midfield at Liverpool of one of the fake players that it brings into the game so that you can have interactions with that player as Alex Hunter, which is clever and I accept that. But it also has Kevin Stewart and Lucas as the central midfielders, rather than like Wijnaldum or Chan or Henderson or Lallana or any of the other players that are, no offence to Kevin Stewart, but better than Kevin Stewart, which is quite strange. It's also quite strange that Harry Kane immediately leaves Spurs in the game, which is weird. don't know how that went down with Spurs. So anyway, I
So
went on to
yeah, 'cause
Newcastle.
it's just like Harry. It's not like if you play as a different team, you get a different player getting transferred in, is it? It's Harry Kane.
It's
Like,
Harry Kane.
I'd
Yeah.
be intrigued to see if you played as Hull. If he's
Yeah.
like, well, yeah, I'm really excited to be here, and it's like, no, you're not.
You're not. You're not. Something's happened, Harry.
Yeah.
Something's happened. You failed a drugs test, haven't you, Harry? That's why you're here.
Yeah, quite.
Something like that. Yeah, it would be quite. Or what happens if you're Spurs?
Yeah, what the hell does happen if you're Spurs?
I reckon if you're Spurs, he transfers in somebody like Anthony Martial or something like that.
Oh man, FIFA 17.
But yeah, that did bother me. But so I'm enjoying it. The interaction thing's cool. I think there should be a little bit more of it. I'm now back at Liverpool after my loan spell at Newcastle, and I'm back there, and I've just got my first sponsorship deal. So I've got my own sponsored boots now and everything like that. But few sort of little glitches are like I say, the fact that it doesn't seem to ever want to play the best players on the team that you're playing for. And the other bit is, if I was playing for Newcastle and I was at home at St James's Park and the opposing team's kit clashed with mine, they didn't play in their away kit. So, for instance, I played West Brom in the Cup at St James's Park, and it was playing for Newcastle in black and white stripes against West Brom in blue and white stripes.
Oh, that's a little bit schoolboy.
And I thought, that must be a little bit of just a glitch on this. No, it happened 3 times.
Wow.
And let me tell you, it is fucking difficult to try and pick out your own players when you've got a clash of kits. And I just thought, that's really soft to not pick that up. You know, and there's a few little bits like that, like the changing of players. So usually there's a button where you change players to go from, no, I don't want it to be that player. I don't want to be controlling that player, I want to be controlling that player. And you click a button to click across. That's a little bit flawed, because it doesn't automatically change to the player that is nearest to where the ball's direction is. It'll just change to a different random player. Like almost you've got to scroll through to get back to the player, and by the time it's done that player's gone. And a few times I've been sort of through on goal and gone to square it to a player running in and gone to select that player, and it's selected the player behind him, and that player's just run straight past the ball, and then the defender's got the ball, and you're going, hang on a minute, why? It could just be me getting used to it, because knowing in FIFA 16, I just squared it, pressed that button, bang, goal, done. So there's that. The new penalties, where the penalties are taken, is virtually unfucking usable. So I need to spend a good kind of hour getting used to how that works, because it used to be you'd set up your direction with your left thing, and then you'd run towards and you'd press to shoot. Now you set up your direction with your right stick, and then as soon as you hit the left stick, he starts running, and you've kind of got to shoot and then aim from there. But it's unbelievably sensitive, so it's going to take a while to get used to, I think, on that. But other than that, I'm liking it. I think the journey thing is interesting. It is really intriguing. It does kind of keep your attention. It does make you want to go, do you know what? I want to see where this is going. I want to get to the next kind of cutscene to see where I am with this. Yeah. So I do like that system of it. I do think it's engaging and it's interesting. But I'm hoping that it pays off towards the end. I hope I don't get to the end of it and go, is that it?
Yeah.
Have I just done all that for this? And I have a feeling that's going to happen, because the only way it cannot be that is if you get, 10 seasons and a career out of this kid, whereas you don't. I am guessing you're getting the first part of his career and the first season or 2 seasons or whatever, and then next year you'll get a continuation of the Alex Hunter story, and that's how it'll work. And if it is, it's a little bit like, ooh, I get it. Essentially, you're going, look, there's a game within a game here, and that's pretty cool. But will they then lose focus on the actual game? Because the little kind of mistakes they've made already make me feel a little bit like maybe they've they've lost focus. And if you were spending a little bit more time kind of playing the game and making sure that these little errors that are there, these little faults that are there, weren't there, rather than spending all of your fucking time promoting it and sending out copies to footballers and going, look, it's new FIFA, it's new FIFA. It's, 29th of September was when that game came out. The transfer window was closed for like 28 days. You should have fucking sorted that shit out. As a minimum. As an absolute minimum. So, it's good, but it does feel a little bit like it's not been as polished as FIFA usually is when it first comes out.
I don't know, give it next year's when they've had time to refine it or something, and then we'll see what happens. So.
Usually with these things, to be honest, EA, if enough gets reported, usually they're pretty quick to go, oh fuck, and the next update it'll probably be changed.
Yeah.
And they usually throw out. Usually, I think last year after FIFA 16 came out, there was an update about a week later that kicked out some of the faults that were in that. So I'm interested to see. I have a feeling I'll probably have got through the Alex Hunter story by next week. So
nice. We'll probably report back then. Okay, cool.
Yes.
So we are a film show, but we always kind of do a little tangenty stuff at the start, I suppose, these days. So anyway, right, trailers. Have you seen anything this week, Mark?
I've seen a couple. The trailer for Patterson, the Adam Driver, Jim Jarmusch film. Looks interesting. Looks like one of Jim Jarmusch's kind of more easily watchable films.
I'm liking the tone. Watchable. It looks very laid back.
Mm. Yeah, it looks like one of those where it's him kind of stripping stuff down, and rather than going, it doesn't look like a film that's going to take you off centre straight away, or even at all. It is just more. It's more one of his character pieces rather than one of his sort of weird bits. You're not going to have Iggy Pop isn't going to jump out of a doorway in a fucking dress and start singing or anything like that. It's going to be a little bit more, I can say, a little more relatable, a little more accessible. So I'm very interested in that. Kylo Ren aside, I think Adam Driver is pretty spot on most of the time. To be honest, he's quite an engaging presence to be around. He makes you want to go, do you know what? I want to watch that movie because that guy is pretty fucking good. So yeah, that Personal Shopper, the Kristen Stewart movie that I think it won Best Director at Cannes, I think. Yeah. It's one of those. I'll definitely watch it, but I can't say I'm going to be busting a fucking gut to track it down and find it.
Did you ever see Clouds of Sils Maria?
I've still not seen it. No,
do watch that at some point. I think it might be on Netflix because that has me excited for Personal Shopper.
Right, well, I'll watch that this week and report back.
Okay,
Dog Eat Dog, the new Paul Schrader movie with Nick Cage and Willem Dafoe. Looks a lot of fun. It looks a little bit like Cage is in his Bad Lieutenant kind of vibe. So I'm very much up for that. It'll be on VOD within the next few months, I'd expect. I think it comes out in November. I think it comes out on VOD.
Yeah, well, cool. Get it watched by the end of the year. Then nice.
Exactly. Yeah. It's quite amusing the fact that in the trailer it actually states from the mind that brought you, and then lists a lot of Paul Schrader movies, so things like Taxi Driver and Raging Bull, Rolling Thunder, and things like that. And it's like, it doesn't mention anything made after 1980, and so it's a little bit like bit selective with that, aren't you? There, but also as well, I can remember it doesn't actually mention a single one that he's actually directed. It's just all ones that he wrote. And the weird thing is, he didn't write this.
Oh, bloody hell.
So yeah, right, I think if I just check out his writing credit, it mentions Taxi Driver, it mentions Rolling Thunder, it mentions American Gigolo, Raging Bull, and I think it mentions obsession, I think. But it definitely, no, so Last Temptation of Christ it is. So it doesn't mention a single thing after 88 from there. But it doesn't mention a single film that he directed as from the mind of. And he didn't fucking write Dog Eat Dog. So it's a little bit like, but hang on a minute. And you kind of get the idea that was Paul, because you get the idea that was Paul Schrader's idea to put that in. Because Paul Schrader do you know what? He's written some amazing films, and he's an interesting guy. If you listen to him, you know he is very interesting to listen to, talk about film, etc. But he does have a very strong ego on him, and so you get the feeling that he's gone, I want you to put these movies that I did, and they've gone, okay, and I want you to put something like from the visionary mind of, and someone's gone, you're not really visionary, Paul. Well, could you just put from the mind of? Yes. And they've gone, as left the room, just turned and gone, you do realise that he didn't actually direct any of those. And they've gone, just put it in. Nobody gives a shit. All people are going to be looking at is fucking Willem Dafoe running around that shirt on, looking crazy. And to be honest, that is what most people will be looking at. It does look like a lot of fun, this movie.
Yeah, man, all over it. But yeah, it should be a laugh.
Yeah, and beyond that, I'm almost to the point now with Doctor Strange where whenever I see a trailer for it, I'm kind of looking at my feet going, oh, I don't want to see any more of this. I don't want to see any more of this. Don't want to see any more of this. The more and more I watch this trailer, the more and more I go, I'm really worried about this movie.
Yeah, I don't know. It's out in like 3 weeks, so we'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've got a feeling like obviously it's Carpenter weekend, and we're gonna actually record the review like with Noel like face to face, and I've got a feeling that might. I don't know. I can see differing opinions coming. I don't know. I kind of feel like if I like it, I'm gonna love it. But if you don't get on board, I think you're really not going to have a good time with it. It looks like a very particular, slightly, I don't know, weirdly culty, but still trying to be mainstream thing that they're going for. And if they pull that off, then it could be really interesting. But like Christ, whether they'll pull it off or not, who knows? I mean, I'll like it opens on a Tuesday in the UK. I'll be there on the Tuesday evening, ready for a Marvel film, and we'll just see how it goes.
Yeah, that's it. Cumberbatch's voice worries me.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
Because it sounds like the most generic accent. Like he's turned up on the day and they've gone, you've got to be American. He's gone, oh no. Well, how does this sound? They've gone, do you know what? Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
No one gives a shit about your voice anyway. Just as long as you don't sound British.
Yeah.
As long as you don't sound like you, no one gives a fuck.
Yeah.
Have you heard Idris?
Yeah, quite.
So yeah, beyond that, yeah, that was all I saw. I think. I don't think there's anything else that I saw in the cinema. I think it's just the same stuff over and over again now.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's just Doctor Strange and Jack Reacher.
Yeah, I'll add the True Memoirs of an International Assassin because Kevin James Netflix film. How can I not watch the trailer for that? I'll end up watching it because it's going to be 4K on Netflix, probably HDR as well. So I'll watch it because I'm a fucking idiot, and it's going to be shit.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, we'll end up covering it on the podcast because we're both about to watch it the week it comes out.
You know, we're both going to watch it. You know we are. That's the fucking depressing thing about it. But yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Oh, the other thing I watched was the Before the Flood documentary, the Leonardo DiCaprio documentary with Fisher Stevens. Looks really good. Looks really interesting. To be honest, I was watching it going, I really hope this plays at a cinema near me because I will happily go and watch this at a cinema. So I really hope that, and I would think City Screen, the local picture house, will pick it up and it'll play on there. But I was looking at it thinking that I'd like to see this on on a big screen because it just, there is a cinematic element to it. So I'll happily watch that. And also it did have one of the great sort of memes that's been doing the rounds of the picture of still of it of Barack Obama and Leonardo DiCaprio talking.
Totally.
I saw a great one of that the other day, which somebody had captioned it and used it, and it just does one that, you know, when something makes you laugh, but not laugh out loud, but persistently laugh. just for an unusual amount of time that you just keep chuckling. And it was Barack Obama, somebody had written underneath it, of Barack Obama saying, Leo, there are some fundamental reasons why you can't play me in a biopic. And it just said Leonardo DiCaprio, star, studying mannerisms already, star. And it's had me chuckling for about the past week now.
Nice.
And I showed it to Becky and she just went, huh, yeah. I just thought, well, I expected more than that.
Yes, very good. I didn't see the trailer, but I don't know. It sounds interesting from what I've heard. So, which one do you want to tackle first, bud?
I'm good with either. Good with either. I watched them all in fairly close proximity. So,
What should we do? Swiss Army Man. Fuck it. Directed by Daniels. Starring Daniel Radcliffe, Paul Dano, and all spoilers all the time because I didn't know she was in this, Mary Elizabeth Winstead. That was fucking weird when she showed up, so I spent about 5 minutes just looking at her going, is that a Mary Elizabeth Winstead? So, I mean, it's such a tiny role, and yet there she is. Story is Paul Dano plays a guy who is on a desert island, is about to kill himself when a corpse washes up. The corpse is Manny, played by Daniel Radcliffe. Paul Dano plays Hank. That was it. Somehow Dano finds out that Manny can be Hank finds out that Manny can be used as a jet ski using the propulsion of his farts. And they find themselves on another island, but it looks bigger. They go walking along, and Manny starts talking. And he gets more experience of the world through where they are, and Hank's monologuing, essentially, Manny becomes more and more human. So this is the Daniel Radcliffe farting corpse film. Which premiered at Sundance, and you had people walking out and stuff. But it kind of feels like the critical tide turned on it slightly when it came out in the US. Did quite well in the US actually, and is out over here now. Mark, what did you think of Swiss Army Man?
Well, I think I was intrigued by the idea of it, and this first trailer left me going, and the second trailer left me going, okay. And then the reviews started coming out, and it's been very partisan. There's been a lot of people saying it's fantastic, and a lot of people saying this is just meandering bullshit. And I sort of decided that it seemed like one of those where it might be, if it grips you and it gets you, that'll be where you sort of flow along with it. And the first sort of 5 minutes, I laughed out loud a good few times. Yeah. It's funny, and the way it's dealt with is really good, and you get an idea straight away that it's not trying to kind of reach for any higher level than sort of where it's pitching to. And then it does when it's good. It's very good, and it's really interesting, really engaging. The only problem is, at points, it does kind of lose that and goes into these lulls where you're going, I kind of get the idea of what you're doing, but I just don't care anymore. And then it starts to bring you back, and you go, oh, you've got interesting again now. Shit, you've gone back down again. And then you're back up again, and then you're back down. And it tends to go like that for a lot of the movie, and and then it finishes, and you go, all right, I'm all right with that. But it does seem like one of those where I enjoyed bits of it. It's too long, and it's only 97 minutes, yeah. But it still feels too long. But I'll never watch it again. But I can't say that I didn't enjoy it, is what I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of the most interesting films of the year, and I think it's very, very weirdly contemporary in that it feels like a film made for the film Twitter age, where it is, and I mean, it was interesting. I wrote a tweet which Daniels actually liked, So where I basically said it's hyperbole. The film,
Yeah.
it's amazing. It's boring. It's charming. It's insufferable. It's overlong. It's like got a weird sense of magic to it. It's subversive. And I actually, in a way, kind of think it's this generation's Freddy Got Fingered. In so much as this is film financiers going right. You got Daniel Radcliffe, you got Harry Potter, and Paul Dano. Yes, we'll pay some money. What are you doing? Okay, there's a farting corpse. Okay, he's riding on a jet ski. Okay. Oh, you got Mary Elizabeth Winstead. Well, she's somewhat of a name at least. And okay, so Paul Dano's basically a stalker after her, and she's barely in it.
And he gets boners that give direction.
Yeah. There's a penis compass. And I don't know. It feels like a practical joke, like Freddy Got Fingered did. It feels like directors going, right, we got this money, let's just see what we can do. And while it doesn't have like Tom Green delivering a baby and using his teeth to cut the umbilical cord, it does have Paul Dano very nearly making out with farting corpse Daniel Radcliffe at one moment.
Yes. Whilst dressed as Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
While dressed as Mary Elizabeth Winstead, with the great romantic theme of the film being the music from Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Which is genius. So I like I say, I think it's genuinely really interesting, even though I think it's got fuck all to say. And what it is saying, I think it's kind of taking the piss with even saying it. Because by the end, you've basically got a bunch of people smiling in wonder at Paul Dano's creepy, mentally ill stalker guy jet skiing off on Daniel Radcliffe's corpse, seemingly probably to start some sort of relationship with him. I mean, like, the last line of the film is Mary Elizabeth Winstead gasping in wonder, what the fuck? And I'm kind of there. This film is absolutely an auteur piece of work. This is these guys making every single fucking decision and putting it out there on screen.
I'd be intrigued to know how many of those decisions were made literally on the fly.
Yeah, sure. And I mean, like, good on Dano and Radcliffe for doing it. They obviously were wanting to experiment, and it looks like they certainly did. There's a lot of laugh out loud shit in there, but there's also scenes that are straight up boring.
Yes,
it's like whenever Paul Dano is going on one of his monologues, it is just like, just stop, just fucking stop. But then again, I'm slightly convinced. I'm thinking that Daniels are basically putting in that in there, going, all right, well, we got to legitimize his worldview somehow. Let's see how fucking mental he can be and still have people like kind of watch it. And it's so indie schmindy with that dialogue, but it feels absolutely purposefully so, because you're going to have people arguing about its in-depth meanings and stuff like that, writing like a couple thousand word essays on their blogs about it, when you've also got Boner Compass.
Yes.
People.
The almost in joke is people will look for the meaning and will go through it, and there'll be all of these things written about it. Well, actually, it's about this, and it's about the isolation that people feel in this technology-driven world.
The celebration of the weird and alone, or something.
Yeah,
like that.
and all of that, and the fact that when he's alone, he dresses as a woman. So there's all of that, and he dresses as a woman that he truly loves, and maybe it's him trying to find the love for himself, and all this lot. And while the Daniels are just sat there going, it's just a farting corpse. It's just a movie about Harry Potter as a farting corpse. That's all it is. And it literally, it is almost like you say, like, they're just going, look, we just threw all this fucking stuff in, but that's what the movie is about. It's just a joke. It's just a piss take. And sometimes that is what films like this are. They're just a piss take. Or they go, do you know what? If that's what it's about to you, fine. That's what it's about to you. That's fucking cool that you found that. The whole Lynch thing of well, what's it about? I don't know. What's it about to you? I know what it's about to me, but I want to know what it's about to you. And that is the thing. That might be the genius behind it. And like you say, it is really, really funny. As a comedy, I think it's brilliant. Yeah. You know, the farting thing only a few times makes you go, this is getting a little bit childish now. The majority of the time, it works and it's funny and it's fun.
Just I WhatsApped you and the guys in our little thing about this, and the opening 8 minutes or so is just like that stretch is almost my film of the year.
It is that I absolutely agree. It's fantastic. The first time, my thing was I have a little bit of an issue with comedy like that is just very base level comedy, which is quite. I know that it's a complete fucking contradiction because I will happily watch a collection of fucking dick jokes from Kevin Smith movies, but that kind of farting, shitting, fucking all that crap kind of makes me go, do you know what? I don't need this. So that worried me about this. And then when the first kind of... It's Paul Dano's reaction to the first time Daniel Radcliffe's corpse farts, where he just kind of looks surprised at it and goes, oh, what do they need for that? And something along those lines. And then it just kind of starts building up. And then the fact of when he stood again trying to hang himself and he's just watching as this body's kind of essentially just fucking floating about because of all of this flatulence, and he's just kind of tilting his head like a dog listening to a weird noise.
Yeah.
It is genuinely hilarious.
I mean, it's just like, and you know, the score, which is really interesting.
Yeah,
as well.
It looks fantastic as well.
It does, but I mean, like, it's just like the way it, like, the score builds and builds and builds, and it's like the euphoric thing, and like the title kind of like zooms out at the screen. And like the way that their credits, Paul Dano and Daniel Radcliffe, I don't know. It's just like Paul Dano's like maniacally laughing while on Daniel Radcliffe's corpse, while Daniel Radcliffe's corpse is just bobbing up and down the scene. It goes Daniel Radcliffe, Swiss Army Man, while the score is like going full tilt euphoric. I don't know. It's brilliant, just brilliant, and I don't know. The film was a little bit downhill from there for me, slightly after that, but
it is. It does get a little bit like that because there's some bits in it where, like you said, it tends to be the I think the film, some of the interactions between Manny and Hank are a little bit dull.
Yeah,
to be honest,
sure.
when he's using Manny to do, you know, fucking chop wood or shoot the head off a fucking squirrel or things like that, it's fun. And it's that. I think it's when it's trying to be a little bit more than the sum of its parts is when it feels a little bit like, do you know what, fuck off. I want to see him fucking been used to shoot out a fucking grappling hook out of his mouth.
But I mean, even like the whole kind of like, they're positioning Mary Elizabeth Winstead as almost like the manic pixie dream girl, like the indie girl who sits alone on the bus, you know. And it's like, no, she seems to be happily married and she's got a kid, you know, and she's actually probably pretty fucking normal. It's just she's got a kooky hairstyle, you know.
Yeah. It's just we know her as Mary Elizabeth Winstead. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost it's commenting on like her in Scott Pilgrim or something like that, you know, like, or at least the look of her there. It's a very very smart, thick as shit film, and I love it. I look for that, you know.
Yeah, I can completely get behind that kind of reading of it. It is that. It's not smart, but it's smart in the fact that it's not attempting to be that smart. Or if it is, it's fucking missed it completely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a little bit like that. I do have a feeling that I will at some point sit down with at least two or three people and have a drink with them and then go, yeah, it's amazing. It's just, it's such a great film the way that it has this about it. And I was there going, no, no, it don't. No, it doesn't. Now, like, do you know what? It's great that you found that, but it's bullshit.
Yeah, totally.
it's utter bobbins, but fun bobbins for me.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, definitely not shit. It won't. I've been very positive on it, but like I say, there are stretches where it is dull, even though I kind of think that's on purpose. And I mean, the ending only really grabbed me in the last 10 seconds when it is like, all right, they really are taking the piss here.
The last line. If that hadn't been the last line to the film, then I would have gone, they didn't know how to end this.
Yeah, no, I agree actually, but like, I mean, just like they're kind of smiling, and then he kind of jets off. It's like, why is everyone smiling? Why is this somehow charming? And then Mary Elizabeth Winstead says, "What the fuck?" And then it cuts to black, and it's like, yeah. Fine, all right, okay, fine.
I can see that was always your ending. If that line hadn't have happened, I'd have been, I would have thought you've just gone this, yeah, all right.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I would heartily recommend it to anyone who listens to this podcast, to be honest.
Yeah, I would absolutely watch it. But what I would say is, I do think that a lot of people will, I would say it'll be an even split between the amount of people who watch it and go, yeah, that was fun, I enjoyed that, between the amount of people that will go, why the fuck did you say I should watch that?
Yeah, I don't know how you are how you would be touching cloth on this. I genuinely don't.
Yeah, well, I'm definitely not shit, because it's definitely not shit. I enjoyed it, but like I say, I don't think I'll ever watch it again.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know whether I don't know whether I will either. Like, I'd like to watch bits of it on YouTube, but I don't know whether I'd actually sit down and watch the whole thing again. But yeah, it's very, very memorable.
Well, yeah, the weird thing is, 9 votes from the audience listening, well, not the audience listening, but from our Twitter followers there. Definitely not shit, 44%. Yeah. Touching cloth, 22%.
Oh, what the fuck? Okay,
and
fine.
Shit, 34%.
Okay, fair enough.
So that's a very even kind of split between the three of them.
Yeah. I don't know how. I just don't know how you're just like.
I can see that being people who don't quite want to say it's shit. Who don't really mean to it.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. I don't know, interesting. Sorry, bear with me 2 seconds. I'm just going to turn on the light in this room. I'll just be a sec.
Yes.
Fucking winter is coming. So, yeah, Swiss Army Man. Watch it. Let's get into the second one. So, Peter Berg's Deepwater Horizon, starring Marky Mark. Oh, pardon me. Kurt Russell. Christ, I forgot her name. Gina Rodriguez. Sorry. Dylan O'Brien. Ethan Suplee. It was good to see him in something again.
Always good to see Ethan Suplee.
Yeah, it kind of feels like it's been years since I've fucking seen him in something.
I saw him in something not too long ago, but it might have been something that's old. No, actually, he's in the Ranch, the Ashton Kutcher
thing. Yeah.
TV series, Netflix series.
And John Malkovich as Creole Foghorn Leghorn. I don't know, just very odd. So it's and Kate Hudson as well. Actually, yeah. It's the story of Deepwater Horizon and the massive fucking devastation ecologically.
The clusterfuck.
Yeah. Physically, just really, really, really bad time that happened a few years back. Basically, it's essentially down to company men deciding to cut corners. So it's part polemic, part kind of thriller, essentially. And then at the end, everybody seems to want to thank Mark Wahlberg.
It's part disaster movie, part these guys are dicks.
Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting. It's an interesting opinionated disaster film, and so, Mark, what do you think of Deepwater Horizon?
As with anything like this, in terms of something that's based upon real events or anything like that, or based on a book or anything like that, I think I always go in with the view of I'm going to review the movie that's in front of me, because that's the movie that has been made. And whenever you're taking a true story of something that's happened, and I saw an interview, a very brief interview with Peter Berg, and he said, this movie is about the incident as it happened, not about the he said, we're not doing the politics behind it, we're trying to tell the story of the guys who were there. And I think that was an interesting way of putting it. So that's why I tried to go into view it rather than viewing it as somebody who goes, my leanings towards we should be looking at more renewable energy, and that these things should be getting phased out rather than upgraded. But you've got to leave that at the fucking door before you go in. And I like disaster movies. Anything set at sea gets me because I'm terrified of the sea. So yeah, I was on board. Plus, it's a Mark Wahlberg film, and I like Mark Wahlberg. I was expecting this to be a little bit more of a kind of an action disaster movie that was about this event. I was quite glad straight away that it isn't. It's a disaster movie that has more of a dramatic than action thing. It shows you.
Sorry, I was just going to say, there's maybe about 45-50 minutes left when it actually all properly kicks off.
Yeah, and then it's not action, it's disaster.
Yeah, totally.
This is fucking that. And there's a lot of kind of character build up of it. There's a lot of people talking to people. It's very much there's very much kind of a kind of class divide within the movie of these are the guys that get dirty, these are the guys that and then you've got the guys at the top. So you've got, for instance, Dylan O'Brien is essentially almost at the bottom fucking rung. He's the guy who gets his hands dirty at that level. But even to be there, you've still got to be intelligent and very, very good at your job. These aren't guys, who can't do anything else, so they do this. They still have to be, fucking Michael Mann levels of people who'd be interested in.
That's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
And then you've got at the top, you've got people like John Malkovich's character, and who all he gives a shit about is money, because he's getting fucking paid by BP to deliver what is in the fucking ground.
And to be fair, like, he's absolutely 100% holds his hands up to that in the film.
Oh yeah, it's and that's there. But getting away from that, as a film, it's engaging, it's intense, it keeps you going all the way through it. It looks fantastic. Berg has done an incredible job, I think, of directing it. And you are watching it going, holy fuck, this is happening in front of you, which is what these movies should be like. It should be these things that you're kind of having to, you have to remind yourself when you leave them, no, that was a film of it. It wasn't actually what was happening. But it does drag you into that. I think it's a really sort of, I think let's say it's the same movie, exactly the same movie, right? But it's a different director and it's a different actor. Let's say it's exactly the same movie, right? But it's Steven Soderbergh and George Clooney. I have a feeling this would have been released in December.
Well, I mean, shit, J.C. Chandor left the project pretty close to when they were going to start filming, and Peter Berg did kind of retool it more to his vision. And I really like J.C. Chandor, so I don't know which version I would have rather have seen, but I know I'm happy with this version.
Yeah, So we'll get more into it. What do you think about it? I'm intrigued to see what you.
Yeah, I liked it, man. I mean, I think I think it missteps a bit with the scenes after they get off the rig.
Yes. Yeah.
But the build up is great. I like the kind of the very early use of like the CG, what's going on in the pipes and all that kind of stuff to build up tension. And the use of sound design was really interesting as well with that. Like it brought a really good sense of foreboding. And also the fact that I liked that. Yes, it is basically it's John Malkovich and company's fault, but at the same time, it's also saying, well, when they do that test and it's bad, they do the other test and it's good, and they're like, well, it does actually kind of add up that this test is bad, but this one is good because of X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, and it is quite good that you get, a great little scene is when Kurt Russell does drag Mark Wahlberg out and does kind of say to him, what do you think? And he doesn't say, bullshit. It's bullshit. Yeah. All they give a shit about is the money. He does go, do you know what? It kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, obviously,
to be honest,
they've already said a number of things about that. Like when they get there, they're like, why are those guys going already? It's like BP have just pulled them out because they can't be asked because they're just essentially assuming the test is okay. So obviously it does do that, but it's not. Yeah, I think that scene is important because at least they are kind of saying it might not be culpability, but at the same time, Kurt Russell maybe could have actually said, no, we're not doing it. And then, he'd probably end up like essentially being forced out of his job.
Yeah.
But, so there is that, there is that as well. I mean, Christ, I'm not arguing for BP in this situation, believe me. I just like...
But within the film, within the film, the universe the film shows you can see why they all kind of go, do you know what? Because they all believe there's a shutdown.
Yeah.
If they all believe that if shit goes wrong, it'll go a little bit wrong. We hit this button and it closes it off. And even stuff he even says, it's okay. I put the whatever it was.
Because I thought that was really interesting. Like when it all kicks off, but then they kind of get a hold on it, and it's like, okay, it's fine.
And then it starts going again. He goes, put the other one on, and then put the other one on, like, and then it just fucking goes.
Yeah. I mean, like, and if it wasn't based on real life, you'd think that was just like a really clever bit of like tension building storytelling. But no, I mean, obviously that must have actually happened. So I mean that's really interesting. I mean, I think the cast are really good as well.
Yeah, it's a really solid cast. The cast works really well because it's a Peter Berg cast. It's a cast of actors. I mean, Wahlberg's in Patriot Day. He's in Patriot Day, which comes out in December.
Yeah, what the fuck? How is that coming out? I mean, Peter Berg, fair play, but that's coming out in a couple of months.
Yeah, it comes out. Yeah, well, I think from what I understand, that's been delayed a little bit. I think Deepwater Horizon, he actually went on to that after Patriot Day.
Interesting.
I think what I read, and it stopped one, started the other.
Yeah.
From that, and they wanted to release this before it. This has been quite a quick turnaround, I think.
Yeah, well, no, fair enough. But I mean, like, production value is great. The CG is spot on. It is fucking terrifying in moments.
Yeah, I mean, when stuff starts exploding, and when you see the proper, it's fucking exploding, and the whole thing explodes. That is a hell of a shot.
Oh, when it's going up up the centre bit. I actually said out loud, "Oh fuck," at that bit because it like that just looks so they are fucked.
No, right. What I'll say, Ian, is I got it wrong around. Deepwater Horizon started shooting in 2015. Okay. And Patriots Day started shooting in March of this year.
Wow.
And it's out in December. Well, actually, no, it's out. It's getting a limited release in December, and it's out in January. But that is a fucking quick turnaround.
Yeah.
9 months.
I don't know. Good on Peter Berg. But I mean, like, I like that he's telling these stories that he obviously cares about. But this is actually this is a polemic, but it's almost kind of subtle in being dressed as an action thriller. I'm a little worried with Patriots Day that maybe his worst, slightly Michael Bay-ish tendencies may out.
Yeah, he's a strange director, I think, Peter Berg, in the sense that because actually he's one of those directors that's actually he counts up as a director, but he's actually quite a decent actor as well.
Very good Collateral, man. Yeah, fuck.
Yeah, very good in Collateral. And also, I mean, the weird thing is, the first thing I remember seeing him was Great White Hype, which is a fucking weird movie. But he does these big movies, and like you said, they are a little bit sub-Bay, but there's a little bit of smarts to him. He seems like a smart guy, whereas Bay doesn't seem like that. Bay's obviously a very smart guy, but the sort of smart guy who, I don't know, there's a slightly Othello fucking quality to him. Whereas Peter Berg just seems like somebody who's smart, but knows that he likes these kind of movies.
Yeah. I agree with that 100%. I mean, it just those tendencies do come out here. I mean, I thought that the moment where Mark Wahlberg is accosted by the guy who was looking for his son was quite a powerful moment, but the whole Mark Wahlberg is like basically suffering from PTSD. But then Kate Hudson and his daughter come in, and then everything's kind of instantly all right again.
That scene bothered me a little bit there, because I was a little bit like when he's like that. Cause I thought this is a good scene. They've obviously what they've done is they've pulled them all into this hotel so that they can keep everyone together, so that they can essentially give people a meeting place to come and meet their families, so people aren't just going off. And then, like you say, he's obviously still a little bit fucking shaken by it all and everything like that. And then Kate Hudson runs in, and then his daughter stood at the door, and I was thinking, you don't take your daughter to that.
Yeah, that's a fair point, actually.
You don't. You go, you ring up and you go, Claire, can you come sit with fucking Cassidy or Destiny or whatever she's called? Because I've got to go and pick Mike up from the what is it, and I don't know what kind of state he's going to be in. And then fucking Claire comes around and she stays there, and everything works like that. You don't go, come on, fucking Chastity or whatever the fuck she's called. Let's go and pick up Daddy, because he's just been on that rig that exploded.
Yeah.
And he'll really want to see you. And you know what? He's got a dinosaur's tooth for you.
Fucking yeah, it's just like
it is a little bit like,
come on.
It's a bit like, oh, come on, Peter. This, you had it. You had it all. And then you just kind of threw it away there.
No, it's like, yeah. I mean, but the rest of the film before that is really, really solid.
Yeah. The weird thing is, the differences between like Swiss Army Man and this. Swiss Army Man is a good film. That. This, I will watch again when it comes out. Yep. On home cinema, because I do think it's. I mean, as I was watching it, I'll free admit this. As I was watching the cinema, I was thinking, do you know what? There will be people who get nominated for Best Director at this year's Oscars that haven't directed as much as Peter Berg has done in this fucking movie.
Yeah.
Because it looks fantastic. All performances are great. It keeps it interesting throughout.
John Malkovich, is he great?
At doing what he's doing.
Yeah, I suppose at doing. I slightly think he's going a bit hammy at times, even maybe slightly not mustache twirly, but a bit hammy when the material doesn't quite call for that. Maybe.
But the thing is, do you know what? I could imagine that somebody who works for BP in that area in Louisiana being like that.
Yeah. No. Okay.
I could imagine them knowing it's the kind of guy who John Malkovich is playing is the kind of guy who will be fucking clapping like mad every time Donald Trump says anything. That is the kind of guy who I went, yes, that's who we're looking at. Is there somebody who's going, I like the cut of that Trump's jib. It's that kind of guy.
Yeah. Okay. All right. No. Well, fair. Yeah. You may well be right, actually. But yeah. No. I mean, I think definitely not shit. It's a good.
Definitely not shit.
It's a good combination of socially aware, kind of like political stuff, but also remembering to be a movie.
Yeah. It doesn't shout its political message at you. I did think that the fact that we get the kind of after the film's finished and before the credits start, we get a little bit of you get a feeling that Peter Berg is going, look, I've just shown you this and I haven't shown you the aftermath and I haven't condemned the aftermath. But that's because I'm not telling that story. That's a story to be told by somebody else. Somebody else that can do it better than I would be able to. That's the story that Jason Chandon can tell in 5 years' time. Because this is the story, I want to tell a story about these guys, about the white collar guys rather than the blue collar guys rather than the white collar guys. Sure. But he's still saying, but don't get me wrong, I'm still fucking pissed off about it. And he does kind of say, look, it was these guys who caused it. You know, they might not have pushed the fucking button, but they caused it, and they got off scot fucking free. How? You know,
that is kind of fucked when that title card comes up at the end.
Yeah, and that does seem like he's going, you know, and they were charged with manslaughter, and then somehow they got dropped.
Yeah,
which is very close to Peter Berg sat with the lawyers going, right? Can we put that they bought their freedom? No, we can't put that, Peter. How close can we get to putting that? We can put this. Okay. But yeah, audience, so we're both definitely not shit on that. Yeah, cool.
Oh, God,
9 votes. Yeah. Definitely not shit, 78%. Touching cloth, 0%. And shit, 22%.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. I can see why people could think it's maybe too overboard, or people who will look at it. I think where you go with your principles with this, I think could affect the way they view it, and that's not a criticism. I'd like to put that out there for people who did think it was shit because of that. It's not a criticism. You know, people deal with their principles in completely different ways to how they view things like this.
No, that's fair. Okay, so I've probably got about 20 minutes left, so I don't know how much you have.
Not a lot.
Okay. Right.
No, really, not a fucking lot.
Cool, man.
I rewatched Wanted, the Timo Beckmann movie. The thing is, there's a really fun movie inside Wanted. The problem is, there's also a really, really not fun movie inside Wanted, fighting against the fun movie. The first kind of hour, not even hour, the first 45 minutes of Wanted, I think is really quite entertaining and quite amusing and quite, not quite of its time, it's maybe 3 years after its time. And then you do get the feeling that every movie Timo Beckmann makes is 3 years too late. But there is a fun movie there. He's doing the thing that the Night Watch and the Day Watch movies kind of made him famous for doing, but he's doing it with an American money and American actors. But then it does start to get really fucking boring towards the second half of the movie, and I'll admit I switched off and was paying more attention to drinking and looking at my phone, if I'm honest. I can see why a sequel never quite happened. But let's be honest, you know, if you're going to cast Angelina Jolie in something, don't expect a sequel to ever happen because she's just going to dick about. I know people say, but, you know, how was she going to be in the sequel? She was going to be in the sequel. She was originally slated to be in the sequel, and then it just never quite happened. It's fun, but you know what? Unless you really, really like the movie and you already rewatch it fairly regularly, you don't have to go back to it, to be honest. You just don't.
Yep.
You're not going to get. You're going to watch it and go, huh, that's why I haven't watched that in nearly 10 years.
Fair enough. Yeah.
And I also rewatched Dead Calm, which I've not watched since it was one of those, when I was at school, it was one of those movies that turned up on ITV on like a fucking Wednesday night. That was on like 10:30 and you watched it because you knew at some point you'd see Nicole Kidman's boobs. True story, that is, let's be honest. A lot of people would have gone, oh, do you watch Dead Calm? I was like, yeah, you got to see, you got to see Nicole Kidman's side boob for a brief amount of time. But also you got to see a lot of Billy Zane. It's strange going and watching it as an adult.
Yeah.
Have you seen Dead Calm?
No, I haven't, so it's made me laugh. Yeah.
Whoa, right, here we go. I'll explain Dead Calm to you, right? It's an Australian psychological thriller. Yeah. Starring Sam Neill, Nicole Kidman, and Billy Zane. Sam Neill plays a naval officer in the Australian Navy, and he comes home from sort of being out at sea, and his wife has had a car accident, and she's been injured but not fatally and nothing lasting. But unfortunately, their son died in the accident, in the car accident. She feels a little bit guilty for it, but it's not her fault. Her son died because he was in a car seat in the back and he unclipped himself from the car seat, and then an accident happened, and there you go. So Sam Neill takes it away to kind of get her through everything, get her over everything. They go away on their boat and they're out in calm, out for months is the idea. And things are starting to, they're starting to get over things, and she's starting to sort of come back to kind of, being more like herself. And then they spot another ship out in the distance, and they're looking at the ship, trying to see what it is. Sam Neill says, we need to radio that ship because it looks like it's been through some weather and it looks like it's in trouble. And then as they're trying to get through the radio, nothing's happening. They notice that there's a dinghy rowing towards them, and that dinghy contains Billy Zane, right? Wearing nothing but a pair of Converse and a pair of board shorts. And he's saying that, that at that ship, that it's sinking, and all, the rest of the crew's dead because they all died of food poisoning, and, you weren't there, you didn't see it. And every time Sam Neill says, I need to go over there to make sure everything's all right, and we need to go to get the rest of your stuff. And he starts to get really concerned as to why Billy Zane seems to not want them to go back there. So he kind of convinces Billy Zane that he should go and lie down and kind of have a bit of rest. While Billy Zane's lying down, Sam Neill locks him in the room and then pisses off to the boat. Nice. Finds that it is sinking, but things weren't quite what Billy had said. And then all of a sudden, Billy Zane breaks out of the room and takes Nicole Kidman hostage, but in a really psychotic way. Like, he's not taking a hostage, he's just taking the boat, and she just happens to be on it, and he thinks that they should be friends.
Yeah.
And then stuff happens. Watch it, is what I don't want to give it any more away to you, because do you know what? It's worth watching. It's only 95 minutes long, but it's fun. It's a lot of fun, because Billy Zane is marvellous as maniacal in it. And Sam Neill is trapped on a sinking boat, and Nicole Kidman is just kind of doing all of these things where you're thinking that this is a strange way to go about all of this.
Okay, that sounds interesting.
I'd give it a go. It's Nicole Kidman before she moved to America, or just after she moved to America.
Okay, Far and Away.
Pretty Far and Away, yes, 1989. So I think it was a couple of years before Far and Away, actually. Yeah, it'll have been after Days of Thunder, but before Far and Away, I believe. I need to check that out now. But yeah, that is literally all I've watched because it is just pre Days of Thunder because of FIFA, to be honest.
Okay, fair enough. Well, I watched a few things. I won't talk about too many in detail, but a couple of things LFF related.
Ah, cool.
So, I had started cracking on with the online library made available to press and industry for LFF. And a couple of genre titles I watched actually. So first off, a Finnish horror film called Lake Bodom, even though I think it's actually been released over here as Bodom. But basically, story is these kids are going to a lakeside. There's two girls, two guys. One of the girls has had an embarrassing incident at school where nude photos of her have been bandied about, essentially. So she's not having a very good time. She's having a hard time at home, and her kind of slightly more sexually promiscuous friend, because she's actually the lead girl, Ida, is not that doesn't seem to be that way. But her friend is like, let's go with these guys for the weekend and have some fun and forget about it. The guys have other motives. One of them is
of course they do.
Yeah. One of them is looking to essentially do a reconstruction of a famous murder there at the lake years beforehand, and needs to use the girls not to kill them, but just to use them as a reconstruction in this murder for some reason that's never really properly explained. And then essentially it kind of goes from there. There's quite a lot of twisty, turny stuff from there for 84 minutes or so. It's interesting because it is trying to be somewhat subversive in what you're expecting. It kind of starts off with that, but then goes to other places. But like Cabin in the Woods, this is not. It just kind of chucks in twists there just to try and be clever. And the director is obviously quite literate, in their horror, and it kind of references quite a few different things. I mean, Christ, there's one kill that is very fucking Tenebrae, in where someone kind of leans down and there's a reveal of someone behind them. Which is the end of Tenebrae, isn't it? When
yes,
yeah. When it's the reveal of the guy in Tenebrae, and so there's stuff like that that's sprung to mind. We'll say that was interesting, but it's not great. It's weird that this is a film that's playing LFF, which is not a genre festival by any means.
Yeah, it does sound a little bit more like a Fright Fest film
it's
that you'd see at 2:00 on the Saturday.
Yeah, if in a Fright Fest audience, it'd be like, yeah, all right, then fine, it was 80 minutes, it had some decent gore in it, there was some twisty-turny stuff, cool. If you paid 15 quid for a ticket to see this at LFF, nah. Better, though, is Kiyoshi Kurosawa's latest film, Creepy, which gets a limited theatrical release in the UK next month. So this is the guy who directed Pulse, which I've never seen, but a lot of people swear by that fucking film, so maybe I do need to check that out.
It is actually really quite good, actually,
basically, story is... A former police detective, after an incident with a suspect, moves home with his wife. He is now a university professor who gets kind of drawn into a cold case from a few years beforehand that he discovers while being a professor. And at the same time, his wife is having some weird encounters with their neighbour. That's all I'm going to say in terms of the plot, actually, because I didn't have a fucking clue what the plot was going in, and I think that's probably the best way of going about it. Buttock clenching tension would be the phrase for this for me. I thought it was pretty impressive. The plot hangs on a coincidence so massive that if you're not feeling the film, it's going to kill it for you. It's kind of ridiculous, but it's really, really well played. The horror that comes into the film it is very psychological. There's like barely any gore at all. But I found it really unnerving. Ben of Mondo Movie and Streampunk fame said to me that he found it quite funny in moments, like he thought it was like supposed to be so. The moment that he said he found funny, I actually went, oh fuck, like just like there's a crushing inevitability to this moment that involves somebody walking on something, I will say. And I was in pretty hardcore, and the last 15-20 minutes or so is like really just you want to take your eyes away from the screen, but you can't, just because it's like, shit, is it really going in this direction? Not gore wise, just psychological, and you're willing the film not to do it, and it kind of goes from there. So hard recommend.
I'll be definitely catching it as soon as I can.
Yeah. It is a little long, 2 hours 10 minutes. But
of course
yeah,
it is.
It's an Asian genre film, so hey.
They're happy to 2 hours plus.
Yeah. And like I say, you do have the suspension of disbelief with one particular plot point. But yeah, very, very well acted. I genuinely, I don't really want to talk about the performances because it might say too much. But yeah, when you get a chance, check it out. I know Eureka Entertainment are doing a limited theatrical over here. I think it might be on a couple of screens in London on DVD and Blu the Monday after kind of deal. But yeah, check it out. It's worth it. I mean, I gave it 4 out of 5 on Letterboxd, just because not too long, narrative problem. But it's not disappointing. So there you go. I will be watching Pulse. Excuse me. Just a couple other things. I watched When We Were Kings, the Muhammad Ali, George Foreman Jungle documentary, which was really good. I think it overly relies on montages set to music for a film that is actually pretty short, at less than an hour and a half, or just over an hour and a half. But yeah, it's pretty powerful stuff. I watched The Old Couple for the first time, which the Mattel Lemon.
Mattel Lemon one, yeah.
I really enjoyed. I like how it's actually not a lot really happens in it, but it just lets the scenes breathe. And I think the two have really great chemistry. Which isn't a surprise, but it like compared to comedies of today, it's quite languorous in its pace, and I like that. There's just a lot of good dialogue. And I watched Spaceballs, which I don't know. I mean, like some of it's really out of date, but some of it, like about the commercialization of cinema, is really still quite relevant. And the scene where Rick Moranis essentially rents Spaceballs, the film, so he can find out where the other characters are by fast forwarding it. It's fucking inspired. I mean, it's like, that's wonderful. So I don't know. Like I say, it doesn't all work, but I had a good time with Spaceballs. I had seen it before, but at least 15 years ago. So.
I've not watched it for a long while.
Yeah, but no, it's fun, man. So yeah, that's it for me as well. So, do we have any Twitter questions?
We don't, I don't think, no.
Motherfuckers. Okay, well, to be fair, I've got to go and kind of be a dad anyway. So, we don't have any emails either. To be fair, I put up 2 shows this last week, and it was within pretty close proximity to each other. So, hey, let people digest those, I suppose. But yeah, next week, we got Bloodfather. Got a bit of Mel Gibson back on the big screen.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming we're doing that.
We can do double review if you want.
Well, I mean, the thing is, I'm like Bloodfather. Yeah, that's all good. I'm interested in Girl on the Train, especially considering apparently I heard God, the Little Gold Men podcast, which I do quite like. Somebody was kind of doing it sounded like he was slightly embargoed, but he was still talking about it, kind of thing. Where he said that Emily Blunt spends the first half drunk and the second half on a vengeance mission, and I'm kind of like, yeah, I'm gonna watch that.
I'm gonna watch that as well.
And also we have War on Everyone, which is John Michael McDonough's new film.
Oh, is that out as well?
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
There's a lot out. And I'm going to see Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children tomorrow night.
Oh, shit, really? Wayne Vizzy, is it?
Yeah, he wants to go see it.
Oh,
so
nice.
okay.
Well, we can talk about that next week then. I don't think I'm going to get a chance to see that in the cinema, so I'm intrigued to see what you think. I mean, War on Everyone is getting slightly mixed reviews, and I'm leaning towards The Girl on the Train. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I'll be glad to see that anyway, because I know Bex really wants to see it, so I'll definitely go to see that.
Sweet, we'll just do Bloodfather and Girl on the Train then. So another double review, holy fuck.
I know. Fucking, we're kicking those out of the fucking park at the moment.
And the week after, oh shit, Andrea Arnold's new film and Inferno.
Oh, which you know I'm going to see.
Mate, I like, seriously, Inferno looks so fucking dumb. I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm so on board with it.
Yeah. I genuinely, I'm thinking I might do Da Vinci Code and Angels and Demons as well. Because to be fair, I've got like that particular week, I've got some like train trips to London and shit. So I could see myself just putting Da Vinci Code and Angels and Demons on the train on my phone and just having a couple of beers and just laughing at them.
Yeah, do you know what? I hold no shame. I genuinely can't remember who it was, but I saw somebody put out a thing saying, what kind of fucking idiot falls for a trailer as fucking stupid as the Dante's Inferno one? And I thought,
me. Yeah, that's straight up.
I do. And I almost felt, I can't remember who it was, but I almost felt like responding, but I didn't have time for where the conversation might have gone. But I almost felt like responding with, oh, stop being such a dick.
Do you know what? I'm going to throw it out there. The week the Inferno comes out, do you want to have a Da Vinci Code trilogy special?
Fuck, I will. I only watched them like a few months ago. I'll happily watch them again.
Alright, we are the only podcast on planet Earth that is going to do a Da Vinci Code trilogy special.
Yeah. Yeah, because those movies are fucking dumb, but my god, do I enjoy them, in a way of, in a kind of way where when you watch them, you've got to watch them with snacks, just to kind of take in that feeling of, yep, I'm doing this.
It's high class trash.
It's
high production value trash. I'm pretty pumped for Inferno.
It does, because it looks like they've gone, fucking hell, I didn't think we'd get to make this.
Yeah.
Well, let's just do it fucking stupid.
Nice. But next week we will do Bloodfather and the Girl on the Train. So I really need a wee as well. At Dude the Monkey, at Ian Loring, at DudeFoz, dudethemonkey@gmail.com, and I think we're out.
Yeah, thank you very much for listening, guys. We'll speak to you next week.
Bye.